Curtis Liebeck is part of an agricultural revolution. Despite declining rainfall and poor soil quality, Australia has maintained its spot as a wheat-producing powerhouse. Thanks to a set of agricultural innovations, farmers have managed to dramatically increase productivity in recent decades. Let's take Liebeck. He works with his father Ken on a farm some 190 miles from Perth.
2023 was the 5th driest year since 1900 for us.
Rainfall during Western Australia's growing season is declining. That should be pushing Curtis's yield down. But his has doubled since 2015. Australian wheat farmers are growing about 15 million tons more wheat each year than they were in the 1980s. Here's how the country has become a model for dryland agriculture across the world. In 2023, Liebeck's farm received its lowest rainfall in half a century, but it produced 1 metric ton of wheat per hectare, more than twice the amount expected in those conditions at the turn of the millennium.
And I called up on the tour and asked Dad, I said, what would this have been like 20 years ago? And he replied with effing disaster.
Australia isn't the world's biggest wheat producer, and its fields aren't the most fruitful. But it's important for 2 reasons. One, its modest population means extra production feeds other countries. And 2, it's the world's driest inhabited continent. Climate change might have made some agricultural production unviable, but Australia is among the world's top wheat exporters. Since the 1980s, a cluster of innovations has changed the seeds farmers plant, how they plant them, and how they cultivate what is often unproductive soil. The advances have been turbocharged by a relentless quest for efficiency by farmers who receive minimal subsidies.
I think you've got to look at crops around the world to see how they are going and producing, and quite frankly, a lot of them are fairly stable. They grow the same tonnages almost every year. But here in Australia, with our new techniques, we've almost doubled, in some cases tripled our production. So I think we're actually really making that soil work. We're putting a lot more thought into it, and I can only hope that we can go a bit further.
Western Australia is the country's top wheat exporting region, but growing season rainfall across the state's croplands has declined by about 1/5 over 3 decades.
If we think why we are soil engineering the soil, because we all know how poor and how old the soil of Western Australia. They're poor in nutrition. A lot of them are sand, so they have very poor water holding capacity. Subsoil is very acidic, so that comes with aluminium toxicity, so plant roots cannot grow into them.
Thirst for water sparked many of the changes. In the mid-1980s, scientists began calculating how much wheat it should be possible to grow for every millimeter of rain that falls. The discovery meant producers could see the difference between what they had grown and what they might have grown. That created a new focus, closing the yield gap. Growers and researchers began benchmarking water use efficiency to extract more crop per drop. A key step was switching to no-till agriculture. Constant plowing is good for aeration and weed control, but it damages soil and exposes stored water to evaporation.
By reducing tillage, it means that we can keep more of our soil undisturbed, the organic matter where it can naturally break down, and we're not disturbing the soil biota.
Adoption of no-till methods jumped from 5% in the early 1980s to about 80%, the Grains Research and Development Corps says. But farm equipment driven over untilled fields compacted the deeper levels of the soil, hindering water infiltration and root growth. So farmers began to restructure soils, spreading lime to reduce acidity and using other kinds of heavy machinery to break up compacted layers of earth into a more absorbent and nutritious mix. New crop rotations have helped curb disease, and earlier sowing has helped farmers better match the growing cycle of plants with the changing seasons. Farmers and scientists say Australia's system of applied research and low subsidies has helped set it apart, but that there's room for improvement. Azam's lab is trying to re-engineer soil further, adding ingredients like clay and compost so it can hold more water.
A lot of people depend on Australian wheat going overseas because we export a lot of our grain to overseas.
Adaptation has its limits, though. Wheat doesn't thrive in increasingly hot conditions, and engineering soil is expensive. But farmers like Liebeck are determined.
And I am optimistic for the future, and I think there'll be genetic gain and there will be other engineering gains that'll put us instead to not only just maintain but improve going forward.